Hi everyone, welcome welcome back to Unwind Flow Yoga. For today's restorative practice, you will need a chair as well as a blanket. And just take a moment to make sure that all four legs of your chair are on your yoga mat, and then come to stand in Tadasana towards the opposite end. We'll just take a moment here to welcome ourselves to our practice. So standing here, feet can be hip distance apart or wider, arms softly by the sides, and just take a few breaths. When you're ready, we'll come into our first pose, taking the arms up and then resting the palms along the back of the chair. Arms are softly straight, and we're letting our chest and head drop in between the shoulder blades, and we'll just stand here for a few moments. Take a moment to connect to the feet, making sure you feel supported here in your stance. You can introduce a soft bend in the knees to offer more support to your hamstrings. Noticing the hips here, counterbalancing the upper body, so sitting bones are reaching back behind you as the crown of the head reaches forward. Allowing the spine here to hammock in between the hands and the hips. And if you notice that you'd like a little bit more, you can always walk yourself forward so that the forearms are on the chair. This will create a little bit more tension in between the shoulder blades, but you still want this to be soft. Staying with your breath. And then one more option here, if you'd like a little bit more, bringing the upper arms onto the back of the chair, maybe the elbows, and then bend the elbows, touching the palms behind the head. This one can feel a little bit intense, so it's only if it feels like what you need today. Reminder that in our restorative practices, we want to feel supported by our props, and we're not looking for that intense stretch. So I'm going to back off back to our original variation with the palm softly resting on the chair. Remaining here just a little bit longer. Noticing what stands out to you about this stance, about your posture. Noticing if different areas of the body started to wake up, or if other areas have started to quiet a little bit. On that next breath, slowly start to make your way out and then return back towards Tadasana for a moment. Notice any subtle changes in your experience. And then for our next pose, we're going to turn the chair around. So turning it so that the seat is facing in towards you, double checking to make sure all four legs are still on your sticky yoga mat. And then we'll use our blanket underneath the sitting bone, so making sure it's folded a couple inches so you have a little bit of height. And we're going to come into a wide stance, so bring one leg and then the other onto the outside legs of the chair. And then in a moment, we're going to come to forward fold, but first we'll just create a nice tall spine. So I just tested to make sure that the chair was an appropriate distance, and then took my fingertips behind. Pressing gently through the fingertips to create a nice tall spine, knowing that we'll need this length for our forward fold. So this little bit of preparation will help support a nice restful restorative posture. When you're ready, take the forearms onto the seat of the chair, folding forward so that you rest your forehead onto the arms. We'll be here for a few minutes, so taking these first few breaths, noticing if you'd like to make any adjustments. If you can soften the legs. Feel the heaviness of the sitting bones. And a nice long spine. Noticing here as you fold forward that we're not looking for a deep bend here, we're keeping it really soft and passive. Getting this rejuvenating quality of rest. If you'd like to adjust the forehead so that in between the eyes, the third eye area is resting on the arms, you can do so. That is generally thought of as a calming point. Noticing what's coming up for you as you're staying in this still, restful pose. Honoring whatever comes up for you by noticing it and deciding if you would like to engage with it or if you would like to just let it pass by. If at any time you need to adjust your pose so that it feels more restful, please feel free to do so. Staying with your breath here, drawing the breath in and drawing the breath out. Just like our pose here, allowing the breath to be passive, flowing without effort. As you're ready here, start to make your way out of your pose. Take the fingertips behind you and start to wiggle the legs a little bit side to side, just waking them back up. And then in your own time, just rolling back so that you're on your sitting bones. I'm going to turn to face you, but you can keep facing your chair if you have the space. Taking the heels down towards the ground, and we're just going to windshield wiper the knees side to side. After we had our legs wide, just bringing some movement and circulation back in towards our hip joint. And then from here, we'll come into our next pose. So we're going to take our blanket onto the seat of the chair, and then take the end that's closest to you and roll it up so you have, once again, a couple inches. And then we're going to sit back with one hip close towards our chair and then place the heels on the roll. So we want to make sure that our heels are supported by our blanket roll. And then we're lying back for legs up the chair. Similar to legs up the wall if you've done that before, but we're keeping it extra restful by using this chair here for support. And we're using this roll here underneath of our heels to really tap into our parasympathetic nervous system, allowing ourselves to drop into this rest and digest, letting go of this idea that we need to be anywhere, we need to be doing anything, we need to be anything. Just allowing yourself to be right here in this present moment. With that intention in mind, see if there's any adjustments you'd like to make in your pose. Making sure the arms are soft by the sides. Palms face up or down, your choice. Paying attention to the shoulders and the chest and the upper back. Seeing what you can let go of in those areas. Softening the sides of the neck and the jaw. If it's comfortable, close the eyes, soften around the cheekbones. Bring your awareness back to the breath without changing anything. Noticing the breath passively coming in through the nose and releasing out through the nose. Staying there for a few cycles of your breath. Being aware that if the mind starts to wander, that's totally normal. Choosing if you'd like to follow those thoughts or returning to the breath. Noticing if anything stands out to you about your experience in this pose. Noticing if there's anything that you can let go of while keeping yourself in this shape. No objective, nowhere to be, nothing to do, but just resting here. And then you can choose to stay here, or we'll make our way out. So bringing one knee and then the other into the chest, taking a gentle rock side to side. When you're ready, release the knees, feet to the floor, and just take a moment to pause there. Take a moment to choose how you would like to take your Shavasana. You can decide to keep the knees bent or extend one leg and then the other. No rush to get there. From here, we'll take our final minute together in Shavasana. Take another few breaths in and out. And then drift into your final resting pose. I'll let you know when it's time to reawaken. From here, we'll close our practice. But if you have more time to stay here on your mat, please do. I'll see you again very soon. Namaste.